Probably not telephones, but we could use phones.
Phones, yeah, that's what I was thinking.
So kids between the ages of 2 or 3 years old nowadays use mobiles or use phones for hours each day. Every single day, that could be 1 second. I could use my mobile phone for 1 second each day.
I wrote overuse, so does that make a difference?
Again, it's a little bit too vague. So your problem is that, again, the size of the buckets are massive compared to what you're actually trying to describe.
Okay.
So let's rewrite it a little bit. It's a little bit simpler. Toddlers use phones for an extended period of time on a daily basis. You can see that someone like you who band 9 level speaking, great vocabulary, great grammar, but by starting your essay off in this way, you've completely changed the meaning. So what you're telling the examiner with this one is, I don't really understand the meaning of toddler. My vocabulary isn't very good, and I don't know how to change mobile phones. That is why you're getting a low score. Not just this reason, but just your opening sentence tells the examiner you don't deserve one of the higher scores.
Okay.
Why do you think you had an issue with that? Because I'm telling you a lot of stuff, but what was going through your head when?
I think quick thinking is what I struggled with, because I want to finish the essay and I feel like I have a time limit, and if timing wasn't an issue, maybe I could give it more thought and wouldn't speed up as much.
So 2 things. One is, don't think of any sentence within an essay as getting it out of the way, because every sentence is important. The structure that we're going to teach you, every single sentence has a job, and if it doesn't do that job, it's kind of like a chain. If there's one weak link within the chain, so for example, putting kids in there means the rest of the essay doesn't make any sense, because you're talking about from 0 to 17, 18 years old, whereas this is about toddlers. You've done the test before. This is probably only the second time you've ever paraphrased the question. Like anything, it requires practice. So what I would recommend you do is literally once a week, get 10, 20 questions, paraphrase them, and then show them to me, and then I'll give you feedback on this, and you'll get better and better and better, just like anything.
Okay.
So now we have, toddlers use phones for an extended period of time on a daily basis. I think we need to fix that. Just add in many, so some, many. So it's just changing the meaning of that a little bit. So the next thing we need to do is we need to briefly answer both questions. To thank you for making it this far in the video, I want to give you 10% off our VIP course. The IELTS VIP course is the most successful IELTS course in the world. That is a fact, because we have more band 7, 8 and 9 success stories than any other IELTS course in the entire world. We do that by simplifying the whole IELTS process, supporting you with some of the best IELTS teachers in the world, and being with you every step of the way until you get the score that you need. All you have to do is just look down in the description, just click that, and you can sign up. If you have any questions about the VIP course, always feel free to get in touch with us. We answer 100% of the questions that we get. Hope that you become a VIP. If not, enjoy the rest of this free video. So remember, what are our 2 ideas? What I would like you to do is just put them into a sentence. So parents nowadays want to keep their toddlers entertained. This could be a positive thing, because toddlers can use it to access educational apps. Perfect, great. This will be our introduction. I would maybe just put this is because, just making it very clear to the examiner, this is why. So this is because parents nowadays want to keep their toddlers entertained, and this could be a positive thing because toddlers can use it to access educational apps. When the examiner reads this, they know a few things. Number 1, they know she's understood the question. Number 2, she's answered both questions clearly. Her grammar is great. Her vocabulary is great. She's doing really, really well. Now we can move on to the rest of the essay, which will be the main body paragraph. So the main body paragraph has a few things in it. It has our topic sentence. It has our explanation, and it has our example. So this in general is just a good way of communicating through writing. Is topic sentence is what is the main idea. Explanation is reason What is the reason why you think that is true? And then example, another way to think about this is evidence. What is the evidence to support what you are trying to say? So the good thing about this structure is we can actually use our introduction here to populate our structure in our main body.
Okay.
So our idea, what's the first idea in this introduction?
It's about entertainment and how they can keep their toddlers entertained.
Yeah. So all we need to do is just look up at our introduction, look for the first main idea, and that will give us our topic sentence. Parents nowadays want to keep their toddlers entertained. All we have to do is just state this again, but using different words again. So paraphrasing again. So how might we be able to do that? Let me show you 3 examples, and you tell me which ones you think. This one. Contemporary parental figures frequently resort to mobile technological devices as a mechanism for facilitating their offspring's temporal engagement and psychological contentment. This one, parents give toddlers phones because they enjoy playing with them. Let's look at the third one. Parents use phones to entertain their toddlers.
So I think the first one is too complex, and the second one, I'll check it.
So the first one, definitely too complicated. If you try and do something like this on test day, number 1, you're going to run out of time for 2 reasons. It takes a long time to think about this. Number 2, it takes a long time to write it. But the other big issue is it's so complicated, the grammatical structures, the vocabulary, you will make more mistakes than you normally would. So don't do that. Let's look at the difference between topic sentence number 2. Parents give toddlers phones because they enjoy playing with them. What's the difference between that sentence and that sentence?
I feel like this is the closest to what we came up with, which was parents use the phones to keep their toddlers entertained.
So the problem with topic sentence number 2 is this sentence is basically saying toddlers enjoy playing with mobile phones, therefore parents are like, oh, you enjoy doing this? Let's entertain you. That's not what the question is about, and that's not what our idea was about. Our idea was about parents use phones to keep them entertained, to keep them occupied. The English phrase to keep someone entertained is not really about entertaining them. It is about keeping them occupied, and specifically when we use it in the context of using it for children. So you need to be very careful about that. So we'll put that topic sentence in there. So we now have our topic sentence. We need to write in an explanation.
Okay.
I want you to imagine you're talking to Tom, and Tom says, why does my mummy give my little brother the phone all the time? All right. How would you explain it to him?
Mom gives William the phone because usually she can't find the time to do necessary tasks that she has to complete because she's consumed by taking care of William. So when she gives William the phone, he remains occupied and she can find the time to do whatever it is that she has to finish.
Perfect. So you're a perfect example of a band 9 speaking student who gets 6.5 in writing. When I ask you to talk about something, you do it perfectly. My wife is exactly the same. She got a really high score in speaking and a really low score in writing before I put her through our VIP course, and then she got a really high score. Wow. Taught her this. But what you need to do in the test is imagine me asking you these questions in your head. So imagine me saying, like, if you were to explain this to a 10-year-old, how would you do that? Don't sit in the test room going, well, Chris, like, you know, but in your head.
That would be crazy.
Do it first.
Yes.
And then, okay, put that in writing. Just write what you said down here.
Okay.
This is because parents can't find the time to finish their tasks because they're
consumed.
They are consumed with looking after their toddlers. That is why they give them mobile phones to keep them occupied so they can finish whatever it is that they need to do. So child in this, we've already set the context that we're talking about toddlers. So we can now talking about kids, child, children. This is good. If you explain this to Tom, who's 10 years old, would he understand?
Yes,
I think he would. Would he have follow-up questions?
Or maybe not.
I don't think he would. If you are writing an explanation and you're like, but I might need to explain this, or you might have this follow-up question, or you might have that follow-up. Then you need to extend it a little bit more. The difference between writing and speaking is speaking, if you're talking to another human being, they can say, what do you mean by that? Can you explain that more? I have a question about that. But when you're writing an essay, the examiner can't text you later on that day and say, like, what do you mean by that? You know, we need to put everything that we need on the page. I think this is okay. I don't think that we need to extend this much. I think we just need to add in a little bit of an example here. But an example, can you think of a real thing from your life?
For example, let's say I'm talking to William, Tom. And I have to explain to him. So I would say that imagine mom has to cook, but she can't because she's taking care of William, and she has to give him all the attention. Because of that, like she would rather give the phone so he's occupied, and then she can cook and finish up, and then get back to William.
Excellent. That's an excellent example because you've used a concrete thing, concrete example of cooking. A good technique for all examples is think about something from your personal life. In my family, it would be my wife. So when my wife needs to cook dinner, she will give William YouTube, and he will watch YouTube for 30 minutes while she cooks dinner. I would extend that a little bit and just say so what is my wife? My wife is a parent. Many parents need to keep their children occupied, and that's what they do. So you're taking something personal from your life and making it a more general example. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Add that in?
Okay.
Many parents need to cook meals for their families, which requires time and attention, and that is why they give phones to their toddler to keep them occupied so they can finish up without interruptions or distractions. Very good. Now we're going to write the seconds without any help, okay? So always be thinking of the question, is this a positive or negative development? And then go back to your introduction. In your introduction, you said this was positive because of educational apps, it helps the children. So now write your second main body paragraph answering this question, topic sentence, explanation, example. I'll leave you alone. So this could be positive because while the child is occupied, he or she is also learning something that interests them and helps in their development. For example, they can access to educational apps which have lessons and topics directed towards toddlers. Learning, and toddlers can use this to learn objects or colors or different types of food and much more. Hence, this can be a positive development for the child. Very, very good. Some little grammatical issues in there. We'll talk about that in a second, but overall this is very good. I like the way that you used specific examples of apps. Like you don't have to know the name of the app if you can, that's great. But you use the example of exactly what they're learning. Objects, colours, different types of food, and then say, so this could be a positive development for the child. A little bit of repetition in there. Try and avoid repeating the same thing when you're using examples. So you could say, hence, so there you're explaining like it's not a waste of time. I'm an argumentative type of person, so I always think about what the other person would say. So the other person would be like, this is not positive at all, they're wasting their time. And I'm like, no, they're not wasting their time. They're actually getting an education while their mom cooks them or their dad cooks them food. Everyone has at least one area of grammar that they need help with. You will have this thing where you just put commas in and then you just keep going.
Yes, I do that a lot.
So the good thing about using these structures is once you finish your topic sentence, full stop. This is because, explanation. Explain your thing, full stop, for example, or for instance. Because you're going to lose marks for punctuation, capital letters, things like that. For a band 9, which you should be able to get, you can't have what we would call systematic errors. So this is every time you use that system, which is punctuation, you basically make that mistake every single time. The tricky thing about systematic errors is you're totally unaware of them most of the time. So this is why a lot of people who might be like you get a band 9 in speaking, and then they go and do the writing test and they get 6.5, and it's like, oh, there's nothing wrong with my writing, and then someone looks at it and go, well, every time you don't know how to use punctuation,
and that can significantly affect the mark.
Massively. For example, a lot of Russian and Ukrainian students don't use the words a or the. Like I go to shop. I go to, they don't, because they don't have those in their native language. So it depends where you're from and it depends on your education. The good news is that is such an easy fix, such an easy fix. That's why structures and learning that are so important. So now we're going to do our conclusion. A little trick that you can use for conclusions is just put in conclusion, then look at your introduction. Parents nowadays want to keep their toddlers entertained, and this could be a positive thing because toddlers can use it to access educational apps. You just basically take that and you put it in your conclusion, and you're just basically saying that again, paraphrasing again. I know it's difficult to have to paraphrase so many times, but to get a band 9, we need to do band 9 things. Again, if you don't know how to do that, imagine you're talking to me. How would you say this while speaking to me? Parents nowadays prefer giving mobile phones to their child to keep them occupied, and it can be a good thing because it can also help the child's development positively through learning and educating themselves. Very, very good. So there's 3 things that we need to do now. So one would be we need to make sure that we wrote at least 250 words. We counted the number of words. It's over 250, but you were just over it. On test day, we'd want to make sure that we are above that. What I would do is when you are practicing, get the official writing paper and see what 100 of your words looks like in your handwriting, and then you can just guess it. Or just through practicing different types of essays, you will be able to, by counting the words after, understand, okay, for this type of essay, I'm always under a little bit, but I don't think you'll have a problem with that. The other 2 things, and this is where I would like the comment section to help, I will post this exact essay in the description, and what you need to do on test day are the 2 most important things. Is 1, fix any grammatical errors. So once you finish your essay, you will go back and you will find all the little errors and you'll fix them. The most important thing that you need to identify, and this is what I would like you guys to identify, are there any systematic errors? Are there any common errors that keep coming up again and again and again? We've kind of done your job for you, identifying the punctuation issue, but is there anything else? But once you understand that you do have that issue, number 1, you can work on that issue before the test so that you turn a weakness into a strength. But number 2, on test day, you are identifying that and fixing it quite easily. Then the second thing is, are there any vocabulary issues? Don't think there are many issues with meaning, but is there any repetition? Can you take some words that you repeated multiple times, maybe vary that with using a synonym? Or are there any words that are easily converted from a lower level word into a higher level word, but only if it is 100% sure that you can do that? Don't cheat at home and put it into ChatGPT or look it up in a dictionary. Do it for real if you want to do it. Like, actually look at it and think about it as if you were in a test. How would you improve things? But on test day, that's what you'd be doing. If you can do all those things, you will get a very, very high score on test day. Any questions?
No, I'm very satisfied. Thank you.
What did you learn? What were the key things that you learned?
A lot of things. For starters, I learned that I put commas and just keep going, and that's something I need to stop, and I need to work on my punctuations and grammar. Again, I learned that there are so many ways that you can answer a question just if you structure them and provide idea, reasoning, and evidence. And if you can think that you're speaking to someone, it helps a lot while writing it down. Because in your mind, the conversation is ongoing, and it's like you have an overflow of words, which you normally might have a block and you might not have those words. So it's very helpful to go with the structure.
Excellent. Yeah. Well done.